What if I told you that a single, almost throwaway phrase in the Old Testament holds the key to a theory so revolutionary it completely upended our understanding of the Bible? Well, today we're digging into exactly that. An idea that proposed the first 5 books of the Bible weren't written by one person at all, but were actually pieced together over centuries. It all kicks off right here with this phrase from the book of Deuteronomy: "The place which the Lord your God shall choose." Now, on the surface, it just sounds like a simple instruction about where to worship, right? But believe it or not, hidden in these few words is the clue that one scholar used to totally re-engineer the history of ancient Israel. And that's the big mystery we're unpacking today. How on earth did this one little line about a chosen place become the linchpin for one of the most influential and controversial theories in modern scholarship? Well, the answer is an absolutely fascinating piece of historical detective work. All right, let's get into it. Here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the man in the phrase that started it all. Then, we'll break down his three-phase theory. After that, we'll see how it completely flips the biblical timeline on its head, explore the absolutely shocking consequences of that, and finally, lay out the two competing visions for the Old Testament that this theory leaves us wrestling with. So, let's go back to 1878. Our main character is a German scholar named Julius Wellhausen, and he publishes this book, Prolegomena of the History of Israel. Now, to be clear, he didn't invent the idea that the Bible had multiple sources, but he was the one who pulled all those ideas together into one powerful, coherent theory that would pretty much dominate the entire field for the next 100 years. So what is this big idea? It's called the documentary hypothesis, and it basically argues that the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible, is like a patchwork quilt. It's woven together from at least 4 different threads or sources that scholars call J, E, D, and P. Each one, Wellhausen said, was written by different people in different eras, and they all reflect the worldviews of their own time. Now, for any theory like this to work, you need an anchor, right? One fixed point in history that you can latch onto. Wellhausen found his in the year 621 BC. This was during the reign of King Josiah, when a book of the law was supposedly found in the temple. Wellhausen became convinced that this book was an early version of Deuteronomy, his D source, and with that one single date locked in, he could start to work his way backwards and forwards, reordering everything. So how did he pull it off? Well, Wellhausen's real stroke of genius was seeing what he believed was a clear 3-stage evolution in how and where the Israelites worshipped. He was sure that if he could track this historical development, he could use it to date the different laws in the Bible. He laid it out like this. In the earliest days, say the time of the Judges, people worshipped God wherever they wanted. They built altars all over the place. Phase 2 is that big shift in 621 BC when King Josiah tries to force everyone to worship only at the temple in Jerusalem. But, Wellhausen argued, it didn't really stick. It was only after the Babylonian exile in Phase 3 that this idea of a single central sanctuary finally took hold and became the law of the land. Okay, now here's where it gets really clever. He maps those historical phases directly onto the laws he found in the Bible. For phase 1, you've got the laws in Exodus that actually permit altars in all places. Then, smack in the middle, for phase 2, you get Deuteronomy, our key phrase, commanding worship at the one place. And finally, you get the priestly laws, which just assume centralization is a done deal, which means they had to be written during phase 3. And there it is. This is the core of his argument. By matching the history to the law, he could date the sources. You see the logic? The law didn't create the history. The history created the law. The legal codes weren't all given at once, but instead they reflect a long, evolving religious practice. And this is where we get to the most dramatic part of the whole thing. Because if you redate the laws using this model, you don't just move a few things around. No, you flip the entire structure of the Old Testament completely upside down. The traditional view has always been pretty straightforward, right? First came the law, given by Moses way back at Mount Sinai. Then, centuries later, you get the prophets, like Amos and Isaiah, and their job was to call the people back to the law that they'd forgotten. The law is the foundation. Simple. But watch what Wellhausen does. He completely inverts it. He argues that the great prophets actually came before most of the law was even written. In his timeline, Deuteronomy wasn't written until 621 BC, and the big priestly code came even later, after the exile. All of a sudden, the prophets aren't standing on the law anymore. And this is the absolute game changer. In Wellhausen's model, the prophets are not reformers trying to get people back to an old faith. No, they are the creators of a new one. They're the ones who invent this idea of ethical monotheism. The legal codes in Deuteronomy and Leviticus, those come later as a result of the prophetic movement. The order is now prophets, then law. As you can probably imagine, a theory this big doesn't just sit there quietly. Applying this new timeline was like taking a wrecking ball to the traditional understanding of the Old Testament. It led to some incredibly radical conclusions that people are still arguing about today. First up, that amazing, detailed tabernacle in the book of Exodus? Well, according to Wellhausen, it never existed. He argued it was basically a pious fraud, a beautiful story invented by the priestly writers during the exile, who were just projecting their own temple back into the time of Moses. Second, the whole figure of Moses gets completely reframed. Instead of being the guy who starts it all, the foundational lawgiver at the dawn of Israel's history, he actually becomes the culmination of it. The law of Moses is no longer the starting point, it's the finish line of a very long religious evolution. And this might be the biggest shift of them all. If the Pentateuch was written late, then the starting point for Israel's faith is no longer a unique, divine revelation at Mount Sinai. Instead, Wellhausen said it's just early Semitic paganism, really not all that different from the religions of their Canaanite neighbors. Monotheism wasn't a gift from God. It was an idea that evolved over time. So what we're left with here aren't just two different timelines. What we have are two completely different, mutually exclusive foundations for understanding the entire Old Testament. And where you decide to start determines everything that follows. Let's just put them side by side. It's really stark when you see it like this. The starting point. Is it a divine revelation, or is it common paganism? Is the story of Israel one of falling away from a perfect beginning, or one of evolving towards a great idea? And look at the prophets. Are they reformers, or are they creators? It all boils down to that one fundamental choice: law then prophets, or prophets then law. And you know, Wellhausen himself wasn't blind to what this meant. He got it. He actually resigned his job teaching theology because he felt he just couldn't, in good conscience, train ministers for a faith whose historical foundations he believed he had completely dismantled.
And that really is the question his theory leaves us all with, isn't it? Is the Old Testament the record of a divine revelation given at the very start, or is it the library of a nation's long, slow, human journey from common pagan roots to a unique ethical faith? That is the Great Divide, and it was opened up by the documentary hypothesis.